Sonic Mania is something special. It's returned to form after 20 years of no classic Sonic games, and while the other Sonic games weren't bad, well, most of them anyway, they just weren't as fun as the classic Sonic games. So when Sega announced Sonic Mania as a return to form for Sonic, my reaction was this. Isn't this what they did for Sonic 4? And that only turned out okay. I guess I'll give Sega another shot. But then I saw that Christian Whitehead was making it, and my hype quickly turned from a very little cloud to a huge rainstorm. I was super excited for Sonic Mania. I watched every trailer, listened to the previews of the songs. I was ready. Or at least I thought I was. Because in reality, nothing could prepare me for how amazing Sonic Mania was going to be. Starts out with an animated intro that is simply put, amazing. It starts out with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles going on an elevator until it reaches M, aka Mania. Then they all spring out to action, with Sonic going into slopes, just being really fast, and being one of the hard-boiled heavies. This is beautifully animated and uses their classic designs for all the characters. I would love a Sonic cartoon that was made in this style. And look at this animation. Sonic is going fast and just having a good time. Tails helps Sonic out by bringing him to Studio Oppo Zone, and Knuckles gets himself into a bit of trouble, and their facial expressions really brings out the characters' personalities. And last, but certainly not least, the music. This music is fast, energetic, and fits this intro perfectly. It's my favorite song from Sonic Mania, and Hyper Potion, you now have a new fan. Bringing this all together creates one of the best intros I've ever seen, and the game hasn't even started yet. The game starts out just like Sonic 3, with Sonic and Tails on the tornado going to Angel Island because they picked up a weird energy reading. But when they go to investigate it, the hard-boiled heavies show up and use this energy known as the Phantom Ruby to teleport Sonic and Tails through time, teleporting them to the Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. Big missed opportunity, by the way, to use the time zones from Sonic CD, as it would have made just as much sense and would have been a cool reference. Knuckles' campaign starts out a little differently, but I want to talk about his changes to the campaign in a separate section. After finishing Green Hill Zone, Sonic sees that Dr. Eggman is behind us as he tries to use the Phantom Ruby with the help of the hard-boiled heavies to take over the world. It's a very simple plot, but it's reminiscent of the classic games that also had simple stories. Don't get me wrong, complex stories are not bad, but after a decade of Sonic games with complicated stories, having a simple one every once in a while is nice. Another thing I really like is the concept of the hard-boiled heavies. They take a very basic enemy design and give them each their own personalities, making them very memorable. The big reason why I was hyped for this game was because of the classic Sonic gameplay, where you collect rings, go really fast through levels, while at the same time exploring to find item boxes like rings and shields, or to find special stages. These two level ideas, going fast and exploring, sound like they would contradict each other, but in reality, it blends beautifully. These levels are really fast paced, with slower sections that allow you to catch your breath and explore, and the sections where you do go fast are made so there are no secrets, that way you don't miss something. These two styles of level design blend so perfectly that most of the time you don't notice. Most of the time. One nice thing about this game is that they brought back the elemental shields from Sonic 3, the fire, electric, and bubble shield, each performing the same uses in Sonic 3, protecting you from elements while also interacting with the level more. For example, in Flying Battery Zone, there are these magnets that have metal spikes and enemies float towards the top. If you have an electric shield on, you'll float too. And if you have a flame shield in Oil Ocean Zone, you'll light the oil on fire. There is a new ability in Sonic Mania called the Drop Dash, which is basically a spin dash that you charge in the air. At first I found the ability pointless, as you need to memorize the levels in order to use it well, but as I continued to replay this game, I found it one of my favorite abilities, allowing you to gain speed instantly. Hidden throughout the levels, there are special rings. These special rings lead to special stages, and if you finish one, you get a Chaos Emerald. Getting all 7 allows you to turn into the overpowered Super Sonic. He finishes stages super quickly and is invincible, which I think is a fair reward. They have a good amount of special rings per level, allowing you to get all the Chaos Emeralds easily. Speaking of special stages, the ones in Sonic Mania take inspiration from Sonic CD, Knuckles Chaotix, and the controls and look of Sonic R to give us the best classic Sonic special stage. The special stage works like this. In a Sonic environment, you chase a UFO from Sonic CD that has a Chaos Herbolt, but you are really slow, so you have to pick up blue spears to increase your speed. Meanwhile, you also have a timer from Knuckles Chaotix that you can increase by picking up more rings. Combining all these things makes a very fair and fun special stage. The level design is built around this, as there are lots of shortcuts and choices where you can choose between more speed or time. There are 3 levels of speed: Mach 1, which is slow, Mach 2, which is fast, and Mach 3, which is the fastest thing alive, while also being the hardest thing to control alive. My strategy is to prioritize speed until I get to Mach 2, which I then prioritize rings, as Mach 2 is fast enough to catch up with the UFO. One of Sonic Mania's core ideas is mixing in past with future, so to do that they have 8 old zones with new level design and gimmicks, and 4 brand new zones. While it does suck that there are only 4 new zones, the old zones have much different level design and ideas, that they also feel like new zones. Also, when you add up the zones, there are 12 of them, when normally Sonic games have around 6 to 8, making this game have much more content. This game starts out with Green Hill Zone. The first act is basically a combination of Act 1 and Act 2 from the original game, while being placed around differently, and while having a slightly remixed version of the song from Sonic 1. Then you move on to the second act, where there are zip lines and spike bridges from Sonic 2. The level design is very different compared to Act 1, and the music is very heavily remixed. Every zone does this to an extent, Act 1 being very similar to Act 1 and Act 2 of the original game, then Act 2 comes around and adds new mechanics for a new level design, and brings back old mechanics from other games. I like this approach, as it has you appreciate the changes much more. The new zones are really good and fit right in with the past zones. Studio Aqua Zone is a big movie studio with film reels, director chairs, and cameras. Press Garden Zone is a newspaper factory that is also a garden, having stuff like enemies made out of ink, gorgeous trees, and it even turns into an ice level. This zone is so unique that Act 1 and Act 2 feel completely different acts, as Act 1 takes place in the factory, while Act 2 takes place outside with the ice garden. Mirage Saloon Zone is a western-themed level that has trains, guns that shoot you in the sky, and wanted posters everywhere. This zone also feels unique with its 2 acts. One takes place in the sky, and you control a plane just like in Sonic 2. Unlike Sonic 2, though, it is paced much better. And Act 2 is on the ground, so you can go through saloons, loops that are made out of sand and disappear after you walk on them. And last, we have Titanic Monarch Zone, and it's just alright. It's not bad, but the level has some really hard to avoid spikes and black holes placed through the level are a little tricky to control. Still a fun stage, just has some problems a lot of Sonic Final stages have. I have a few gripes with some of the returning stages. With Flying Battery Zone, this might just be me, but every time I would run on walls or ceilings, I would then try to change my direction so that Sonic would be facing those walls or ceilings, so that way I wouldn't fall, but instead it would make me fall. And it took me a while to find out that you just had to keep the same direction held the entire time. I also have a gripe with Chemical Plant Zone. They brought back those cursed moving blocks. The problem with them is that they are slow and will most likely kill new players. The good thing is there only is one section that's required, but if it was up to me, I would have kept the level the same, but just got rid of that section. A surprising thing about this game is that normally in other Sonic games, there's that one level you hate, like Labrynth Zone from Sonic 1, and Wacky Workbench from Sonic CD, but in this game, I like playing every level. Sure, I have a few gripes, but it is never a full-out hate. Even levels I didn't like in the original game, for example, Attack Madness, they made this level so much better that it's actually one of my favorites from Sonic Mania. But a level is never complete without a boss fight at the end. I'm just gonna say it right now. Classic Sonic games have horrible bosses. They are always too easy, except for a few exceptions, but those exceptions are usually too unfair. But in Sonic Mania, these bosses are really fun. They also put up more of a fight. With Use Studio Aqua Zone, for example, there's this fight with one of the hardboiled heavies. He shoots rockets at you, and you have to hit the blue rockets back by either jumping, rolling, or drop dashing while avoiding the red rockets. This is way better compared to, let's say, Oil Ocean Zone from Sonic 2, where you jump on the head, wait till after he shoots a laser, jump on the head, wait till he shoots a laser, etc. There is much less lag involved in Studio Aqua Zone, and there is way more options. Some levels are also references to other games, like Mirage Saloon Zone, where you fight the bosses from the Game Gear Sonic games, or Chemical Plant Zone, where it makes you play a round of Dr. Robotnik's Beam Machine. Is this a total shift in gameplay? Yes. Is it unfair? No, because this boss was made so easy that even a beginner can beat it. Some fights I notice are much better or worse if you play as Knuckles, since he has a lower jump, like the lever boss that is much trickier. Speaking of different characters, let's go over everyone's abilities. Sonic has a new drop dash, and he can use the special abilities with the elemental shields, like a double jump with the electric shield. Tails has a ability to fly, which makes him the easy mode, and Knuckles has a lower jump, but he can glide and climb, and he also has some differences to his campaign. His adventure starts with him just enjoying himself to getting knocked over, taking him to Green Hill Zone. But Green Hill starts with him underground, which makes him climbing up, making it a completely different level for the first half of the level. In Large Saloon Zone, he gets pushed off the plane and has an entire act to himself. And some levels have different paths. For example, Lava Reef Zone has a different path at the end, which takes Knuckles to a completely different boss. I saved the best for last, the music. Now, music is very subjective, and what I like may very much differ from what you like. That being said, this soundtrack is amazing. So many good tunes like Green Hill Act 2, Starlight Speedway Act 1, both of the acts of Studiopolis, both acts of Press Garden, and the Hardboiled Heavy theme, especially the Hardboiled Heavy theme. Just listen to it, I'll think you'll agree. Lopes, you now have a new fan. Your music is incredible, and I can't wait to hear you in other games. This game is absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite 2D platformers. It has very fun levels, lots of replay value. No, trust me, I have over 50 hours on this game, and this game has me super excited for the future of Sonic. Please, Sega, let this team make a sequel of all original levels. I would buy it in a heartbeat. And the music is so good that I am baffled that Sonic Mania soundtrack isn't available online yet. Come on, Sega! Because of this, Sonic Mania is my favorite Sonic game. I'm sorry, Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, but against Mania, there is no contest. So what did you think of the video? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comment section. Also, since this is my first review, I would like any advice on what I can do to make my next reviews better. In the future, about a month from now, I plan to do more reviews like Metroid Samus Returns and Shovel Knight. So if you want to see more content like that, please subscribe.